Okay, and we're live streaming.
Well, awesome. Welcome everyone. Dirana here. I will be taking the helm from Todd on leading the Fall Line Trail Working Group meetings. So I welcome everybody. Hope you're having a great Wednesday and a great work week. I guess we'll start. That was my introduction. So we'll start with roll call for attendance. Ms. Firestone.
All right, thank you. Town of Ashland, Miss Amos. Chesterfield County, Miss Smith. Miss Walker.
Here.
Hanover County, Mr. Vadunez. Henrico County, Mr. Yor.
Here.
Miss Smidler.
Here.
City of Richmond, Chair Clark.
Here.
VDOT, Mr. Mann. Mr. Riblett.
Here.
Miss McAdory.
Here.
Plan RBA, Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Mr. Bushing.
Here.
Mr. Ariel. And Tri-Cities MPO, Mr. Swakowski. That concludes the roll call for attendance. I'm going to go back and check.
Here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm here. I couldn't get onto the screen quick enough.
Okay, thank you. I've
Thank
noted
you.
that.
And it's Nora's here too. I'm trying to move her over now.
Okay.
Awesome. So I guess we'll go to item 2, approval of our June 1st meeting minutes. Do we have a motion for that approval?
This is Nora Amos. I move approval of the minutes.
Thank you.
second.
I guess all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All opposed, say no. All right, so we have approval of our June 1st meetings. I guess, Chet, do we have anyone that signed up or that's on here that would like to do the open public comment?
We do have some members of the public that are on the list as attendees. If anyone would like to address the group, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen to share your questions or notify us that you would like to speak. At this point, Madam Chair, I don't think we have anyone that has offered up their interest in speaking.
Okay. And so we will, at the end of the meeting, just see if we have any questions that may arise after the meeting. So being none right now, we'll move on to VDOT's update. And Liz, we kept this kind of the same from before based on no update from you all. So do you want to address some of the items for us today?
Sure. Mark, did you want to take the first half and I'll do the other, or want me to do it all?
Sure. Real quickly, I'll run through the couple of items on the design build scenarios. First off, obviously, no new information on a state budget update. Nothing new from the updates that Shane has provided to the working group in previous meetings. I'll talk about the design build scenarios and the SPA updates and then turn it back over to Liz for design guidelines. Relative to the northern section, the northern SPA agreement goes to the CTB for approval in September. The RFP is still on schedule to be advertised prior to the end of calendar year 22. Regarding the southern section, the SPA is being developed. We're waiting to confirm the alignment with Virginia State prior to finalizing. We have provided Chet with a preliminary spend plan for the southern design build project. We have met with Chesterfield County Emergency Services, Police and Fire to discuss safety and access on the alignment through the county. And we are continuing to work with Virginia State on an alternative alignment to avoid their campus. Essentially, one of the new alignment considerations actually moves it slightly east, away from their campus, and has a bit of a modified connection as it crosses the Appomattox and comes down into Petersburg. But we're continuing to work with FOLAR and the folks in Petersburg, and most importantly, Virginia State, to make sure that that alignment is something that works for everyone. So with that, again, that SPA agreement is being developed. We would anticipate that that would be following later this fall after we get some of the alignment changes worked out. Turn it over to Liz for design guideline updates.
Thanks, Mark. I don't have much of an update. Last time we met, we were still looking, our VDOT Central Office and our Bridge Division, we're still looking at that. That has completed, and we've sent Tool our comments. And then also we received some comments from Henrico Department of Public Works, which is great. So we've passed those along as well. Once we get a draft back with all the comments incorporated, it will go back out to this group. And again, just a reminder, I know we initially had like a May, June timeframe for completion. As long as we get it completed before we advertise the RFP, we're good. And so we're still on schedule to do that. Do you guys have any questions about either the guidelines or anything that Mark mentioned?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
This is Chet. As far as the southern section goes, I think, as Mark said, we've got the draft spend plan, but once the Virginia State issues get ironed out, we'll work through the same process we did with legal counsel and on our side, as well as VDOT, to get the SBA in place and run it through the same process we did for review and approval as the northern section. So I think we have some time, and we're just, I think we've done it once now, so we have a little bit more of a comfort level in how to move this forward. So I feel good about the time we have and getting it done by the end of the calendar year, which was the original timeline.
Awesome. Anyone else have any comments or questions? If not, I do have a couple. I guess I can start with Liz on the design guidelines. I know the City of Richmond submitted comments, and one of our requests was regarding a potentially like a 2-page citizen-friendly summary of the final design guidelines. Whether or not it can be done in 2 pages, I'm not really sure. But we were looking at something that could be shared at our meetings, at our public meetings, as well as on our website. And I know that the consultants said that they would check with you all. So I just wanted to know, had they, asked you or, put up the chain that request, and was it something that would be feasible for that project?
I think it's absolutely something feasible. It's probably something we'll do in-house at VDOT once we have the final guidelines. There's going to be an executive summary as part of the document, and then we can take that and work with our communications division to make that consumable by the public.
Thank you.
Just because that was technically outside of their scope initially.
Okay, awesome. And is there any time frame on that?
I would say we probably need 2 to 3 weeks after the completion of the document.
And when is it set to be completed?
We should get comments back from Tool. Let me look at my calendar. We're supposed to get comments back from Tool next week. And so by the end of this month.
Okay, I'll just say September. Awesome. And then I guess this one's more Chet regarding the spend plan. And I guess Todd too, do we want to stay by the September 7th meeting? Todd, have some form of spend plan to Chet regarding our segment, or at least what we've identified as, what we'll be working on in the next year?
Yeah, Dorana, this is Todd. I think that's probably a reasonable goal. I think we're close on our end of having spend plan by year as well as remaining funding needs. One outstanding item that I think needs to be addressed is we talked about it, I think the June meeting, having a furnish and install contract for wayfinding and other amenities for the trail. So we need to probably, as a group, figure out what we want included in those furnish and install contracts, because we need to know what to include in our various phase estimates in terms of any amenities that would be outside of that furnish and install. And I don't, unless somebody else has started thinking about that, we probably need to put our heads together on that furnish and install contract.
Yeah, I agree. And it may be that the northern section that's gonna be the design build, they may produce that probably first, even though that's not soon as, September. So the wayfinding may just have to be, in an out year. And we may not be able to, get the contract right away unless you're gonna develop it yourself. Todd.
Well, I don't know that we need to fully develop the contract. I think we just need to agree as a group what components will be in there. We're at anywhere from 30 to 90% plans on our various sections, and getting refined cost estimates, going to public hearing for the northern half of the county portion in September. So we're to the point we can include or not include any of those components that are needed, and probably need that resolved by, I'm thinking, September timeframe. So I don't know if that's something this group wants to do at our next meeting, or if we just need a kind of a side conversation between the appropriate folks at VDOT and Henrico and anybody else on here that's interested in sort of helping determine what's in that furnish and install package.
Yeah, I think it would probably be helpful for everyone. VDOT, is that something that you think you could facilitate at our next meeting?
You mean facilitate kind of walking through that process?
Yeah, and kind of seeing what elements, talking through what elements should be included or typically are included, and letting the group kind of, okay or agree with the approach.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can certainly, I'll go back with our folks and talk out sort of a process, and I think we could do at least get it started. And I wanted to add real quickly, I think I heard at the beginning of the question talking about prioritization of the rest of the trail. I believe we had been kind of asked to look into that, and we are doing that. We've got some concepts kind of thrown around internally. We just want to look at it, make sure it's feasible, but we can come back maybe next month with some suggestions of where we think it might be most feasible for CDTA to attack the trail next as well. Maybe that could be the beginning of that or end of that conversation of the amenities.
And I would say that it probably would be worth talking whichever segments you do come up with, whichever locality it impacts, maybe talking with them prior to the meeting.
Sure. Okay.
Or even in, conjunction, cooperation with, because we have some elements, I know in Richmond that, we are prioritizing and just seeing how those things may align.
Absolutely. 100% agree. We'll probably be reaching out, I would say, next week to try to get those conversations going.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Miranda, can we circle back on the components, the wayfinding components discussion?
Yes.
I think it would be, I think you just said this, but I think it would be great to have that on the agenda for the September meeting. especially if we can have something maybe worked out with the remaining jurisdictions, so Henrico, Richmond, Chesterfield, and put a draft together to put in front of this group for that discussion between now and whatever the next date is.
Yeah, for the wayfinding or for the prioritization?
The wayfinding, what Todd was starting on talking about.
Okay, yeah, that's fine too.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely wanted it on the agenda, but if you're saying that we may need to talk prior, then we can definitely do that too. I was
Well,
gonna
I just-
have,
It's always easier to have something to look at than to just kind of, spitball at the meeting. So
Yeah.
I was just thinking it'd be great to have a draft ready.
yeah, so then I guess Liz, if you could also set up something for that with the localities, we can help start that process with you.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
So Liz, since we've probably put the most work and kind of thinking about those elements at this point, you and I and anybody else from your team that want to touch and as well as a couple of folks from my team can probably start that conversation and maybe start a draft list and
Okay.
develop it and send it out to the group to Chet's point in advance of the September meeting for everybody to sort of talk through at that point. Because I think it would be good to have some spitball some stuff and have it for discussion.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Thanks, Chet. Anyone else have any follow-up questions for VDOT? Well, hearing none, let's go to item 5. We touched on this a little bit. Are there any other discussions that anyone has on the schedule and spending plan?
I just wanted to bring up a recent, a string of recent discussions with Monday's deadline for Smart Scale.
Mhm.
There's been a little bit of confusion around the region about commitments for fall line and what segments are actually moving forward and what aren't. So this is a very timely discussion right now to talk about the prioritization. And I just wanted to say it during this public meeting that at this point, we don't have the whole trail funded. So we're still trying to figure out outside of the 2 design build sections, what those priorities are. And that's part of the major work of this group is to develop that prioritization decision, I guess, or a recommendation back to the TAC and the authority. So I understand everybody's, obviously if there are commitments to segments that helps with leveraging and makes projects more competitive, but I think we have to work through this process and now is the time to get those next steps figured out, especially as the southern design build section starts moving forward. We're going to be ready to think about those remaining segments and which ones get the remainder of that 104 million.
Yep. And I think that's perfect. Thank you, Chet. I know that the city of Richmond, we have, priorities that we're leveraging with Smart Scale. And it's very important, the prioritization of those remaining funds. And so I would say to all of the localities here that you really want to take seriously your prioritization of what's important and what you want to get done, thinking about what funding is available, the amount of funding that's available. And so Chet talked about the 104 of the CVTA regional, and then I know Mark didn't give nothing changed with the state budget, but do we know what was from the state committed to the fall line?
Well, we know CTB was 42, I think.
42.
Okay, yeah, I remember that
42.
one. Yeah, sorry.
And then
about that.
20, I think 21 or 22 of that 42 is going to the southern portion.
Okay. And I think, again, if your localities just want to look at, just for fairness, for proportions of available dollars as we go through this process and work with Liz, that you kind of consider what your locality would at least want to ask for out of the available funds in the sections that you want to prioritize. Are there any questions on what I'm saying or what Chet said and what's upcoming?
Madam Chair, this is Todd.
Yes, Todd.
So our goal, as we talked about earlier, was to have the spend plans for remaining sections as much as possible ready for the September meeting. So do we want to submit everything in advance through chat so that for the September meeting, that can be a discussion item that's
Yeah, I think so, but I think that Liz also said that VDOT was working on their own kind of best case scenarios. So I was thinking that we could at least see what VDOT is coming up with each of our localities, and then kind of VDOT submits theirs and we can submit ours, but at least it won't be, maybe it's, off the mark as it could be if we didn't talk to VDOT, first.
And we can have,
then,
Dirana, we can have something in the next week. I mean, because like I said, we've all worked together and tossed out some ideas. We just need to solidify what we think our recommendation is. So I can get something out to the group next week.
And
yeah, that would be good. And then I think, Todd, we could submit.
Dorona, one of the things that I think it's important to note is similar to the suggestions that we had brought forward previously in terms of options where we could advance a northern segment and a southern segment. What we're envisioning is bringing some opportunities to you where, hey, here's some ideas that VDOT has in terms of segments that we feel like we would easily be able to move forward if that's the will of the group. That's the concept I think that we're bringing forward to you guys.
Okay, yeah, then that's fine. Then I would say, Todd, yes, we should by the September meeting submit something to Chet, because at this point it's kind of like, Henrico, Richmond, and then VDOT is spending, showing how the money would be spent. And so, yeah, I think it would be best to submit something by our next meeting to Chet on our priorities, and then we can look at those as a group with what VDOT has come up with as well.
right, and that's assuming that we will probably individually have conversations with Liz and Mark and them to just touch base on making sure we're all kind of thinking the same thing or on the same page prior
Yeah,
to
I think that's
submitting
perfect.
anything, so.
Okay, awesome. So Liz, if you send that out, then maybe schedule something where we could just briefly, talk about it, and then we can bring it to this working group in September for full discussion.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Anyone else have any comments on item 5?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I had one more comment.
Yes, sir.
Just thinking about the optics of it, if possible, and I don't know what VDOT's process is internally, but we had the really great table that was used to display the segments and what the estimated costs were back when the December authority meeting approved the 104 million. I think it'd be great to be able to continue using that moving forward and update it so we can show the northern and southern section and kind of track where things are in terms of the segments that were originally in the study. I think that'd be really nice to be able to show the progress as we go into these next few milestones.
Yeah, I agree. And then of course, say for example, the southern section, where the alignment is changing, we have the ability to denote those types of changes that are, could impact the cost or, positively or subtracting from it. So yeah, I know we use the table a lot to identify, prioritization. So yeah, I would advise we could use that table in the discussion as well, with the discussion, yes.
I just want to
And-
clarify, Chet, are you guys talking about the table that VDOT produced with all the estimates in this by segment?
Yeah,
Sure,
kind
I
of
mean-
colorful table.
Yes, we
Okay.
had, VDOT did one, we had one, but it all had basically the same information. I think we can probably dispense with the inflation and stuff and some of the extraneous details for this purpose.
Okay. I'm just trying to clarify if you want us to, we have ours updated, obviously, with like most recent funding rounds of TAP and all that. So I'm just trying to figure out if you want us to bring that as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, if you could share that with the group prior to the meeting, that would be great, Liz.
Sure, no problem.
All right, any other comments on that item? That's an important one. Well, if not, we can get any locality updates on the Fall Line Trail, their projects. We've heard a little from Todd. I don't know if you want to expand on that or any others that would like to provide an update.
Madam Chair, this is Todd.
Yes, sir.
I'll elaborate ever so slightly. So yeah, we have our public hearing, which is, I guess, a follow-up to the location public hearing that VDOT held back in May at 2 locations. So we have the, design public hearing for the Longdale and the Villa Park phases, which are essentially about a little over 4 miles of the northern portion in Henrico that will tie into the Chickahominy Crossing section. That public hearing is on September 14th at Longdale Elementary School. Mark and Liz, if we have not sent y'all the details of that meeting, we will be sending that to you guys as well as to the Ashland residency. But we're getting all of our public hearing materials together for that meeting now.
Hey, Todd, send it to us too, and we can share it.
Yes, I will do. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks.
Are there any others? I do have one for the city of Richmond. We'll be having a community meeting, information meeting on the segments within Richmond on Monday, September 19th from 6:30 to 8. And it's at Linwood Halton Elementary School. So we'll be reaching out. I'll be reaching out VDOT if I need any assistance setting that meeting up, and Chet, I can get you well, not setting it up, but actually, some of the content that we'll be discussing. And I can get you that information as well to share. Another thing, the city, we have our Fall Line Trail website up. I encourage each of you to go visit it. It's pretty cool. And has a lot of elements that we think are useful for the public. And so again, I invite you to check out the new website. Does anyone else have any comments?
I just wanted to offer as these public information meetings are starting to roll out, and anything social media wise, like the website, our staff has time programmed for this. So if you need assistance with in-person meetings or just staffing, anything like that, please let me know, and we're happy to help out. And obviously we can share information through our mailing list for the dates and website materials and everything else.
Awesome. I will take you up on that. Thanks, Chet. Anyone else? So we'll move to item 7, future topics. I think that we have wayfinding discussed as being on the agenda, as well as the schedule and spending plan. We'll keep just a VDOT update on there. Are there any other items anyone would like to be included?
We may have a draft SPA for the southern section in September,
Okay,
but we may not. We'll see where things progress with the legal side.
yeah, we'll leave under VDOT update, the SPA update. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. All right. We're coming to an end, everyone. The fun is about to end. We have our next meeting on September 7th. Are there any member comments?
Madam Chair, I do have one question from the public. Can the minutes of the meetings be sent out to community members to share with other community members? And I think the answer is absolutely. We will, we post all of our meeting minutes on the website, but we will certainly make sure to make those available, and maybe we can, this is Ms. Cooper Smith. If you are on any of our mailing lists, we'll make sure that the information gets sent out in that way. And we'll also make them available to obviously the members here to share back with any jurisdictional contacts and networks.
Awesome. And thank you for our regional citizens that have joined us today. We're very excited, as you all may be, about the Fall Line Trail. And if there's no further comments, this meeting is adjourned. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you.
You too.
Exciting.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.